everybody, my name is Susan Mendoza, and today I'm going to be sharing with you Captain Underpants by Dave Pilkey. About the author. When Dave Pilkey was a kid, he suffered from ADHD, reading challenges, and behavioral problems. Dave was so disruptive in class that his teachers made him sit out in the hallway every day. Dave loved to draw and make up stories, so he spent this time creating his own original comic books. In second grade, Dave created a comic book about a superhero named Captain Underpants. His teacher ripped it up. Interestingly, he published his first book while in college, which is this one that I'm presenting to you. And let's begin with the introduction. Let's begin talking about the book. So first, the title of this book is The Adventures of Captain Underpants, part of the Captain Underpants series by Dave Pilkey. It was printed first September 1st, 1997, black and white edition. Then it was printed again August 27, 2013, color edition. This book falls under the category of a picture book, a comic book, and a chapter book. There are 13 series books of Captain Underpants. This is a children's book for grades 2 to 5. Overall, this book is filled with humor. Fun facts about the book, Captain Underpants. So first is the names of the characters, George and Harold. The names of these two characters were based on Pilkey's childhood stories, Curious George and Harold and the Purple Crayon. George and Harold are a reflection of Pilkey's childhood. He was funny, he drew comics, got in trouble with the teacher, and did a few pranks. So the author put in his personality and his childhood memories in George and Harold. That's what he did. That's something really nice, something really meaningful. The name of the characters and locations are inspired by the Three Stooges and the Three Little Rascals. Like the name of the school is inspired by the last name of one of the actors of the Three Stooges, and the last name of one of the characters, George or Harold, is inspired by the last name of one of the actors of the Little Rascals. So it's just a lot of inspiration, and these movies were his childhood memories, so that's why he incorporated a lot of his childhood into the making of Captain Underpants. Plot summary of the book. The characters, which is they're Harold, which is the one on the right, and George, the one on the left. Mr. Krupp, also Captain Underpants, the one in the middle, and we have our villain, Dr. Diapers. The setting of this book takes place in school, two fighting crime in the streets. The beginning of the book starts off with George and Harold, who are two pranksters that grab the school's attention and make their own comic books. At an important school football game, they plan a series of pranks that result in the school being forced to forfeit the game. They put pepper in the cheerleaders' pom-poms, making everyone sneeze. Helium in the football, causing it to float away. Bubble solution in the marching band's instruments, and itchy powder in the muscle rub for that the football players use. And the middle of the story is right after pranking the school on their football game, George and Harold are caught by their mean and grumpy principal. Their principal blackmails them in order to stop their mischievous behavior, and he gets his car cleaned. He has a videotape of them doing all these pranks. What he does is he brings them to the office and he shows them the video. He is so happy to have caught them. He has been unable to prove that these kids are the pranksters, and everyone just thinks he's crazy. They don't believe him. So by having this video, he threatens them to send this video, that he's going to show this video to the football players, and they don't want that because, as we know, they're going to get beat up and bullied throughout their whole school years. They make an agreement that they are not allowed to do pranks, they are not allowed to laugh or smile, they are given extra homework, and they have to wake up early in the morning to wash Mr. Krup's car. All right, so next, this is what happens. This is the plot. Mr. Krupp is hypnotized with this ring that George and Harold bought off a magazine for $4. They get him to act like a chicken, a monkey, then to their own creation, Captain Underpants. In the end of the story, George and Harold save the world by stopping Dr. Diapers, from using his Lasermatic 2000 laser gun to destroy the world. He stretched he, as in Captain Underpants, stretched a pair of underwear and covered Dr. Diaper's head. The warehouse explodes after detonating the Lasermatic 2000. So they take Dr. Diapers to the police station they turn him in by hanging him in the police station's flagpole. Soon after that, they return to school. George and Harold get Captain Underpants back to Mr. Krupp by throwing water at his face. So the hypnosis didn't work when they were trying to get him back to Mr. Krupp. So they threw water at him to come back. The major scene of this book is the Flip-O-Rama. So the major scene here is when George and Harold enter the warehouse to save Captain Underpants. Captain Underpants attacks Dr. Diaper's robots through this creative animation technique, Flip-O-Rama. This is the major scene because it is filled with action, and the reader brings this action to life by flipping the pages to create this animation. Analysis. Let's begin with our first analysis, which is the rule of number 3. So there's a pattern here in this story that consists of this number 3. So let's check it out. The book uses patterns to represent the hilarious action of Captain Underpants through sequence of number 3. Number 3 is like a magical number. It's no accident that the number 3 is pervasive throughout some of our greatest stories, fairy tales, and myths. It is no coincidence that some of the most famous quotes throughout history are structured in 3 parts. Nor is it surprising that the rule of 3 also works wonders in the world of comedy, just like the one right here. This book is full of comedy. It all comes down to the way we humans process information. We have become proficient at pattern recognition by necessity, and 3 is the smallest number of elements required to create a pattern. So let's begin with our first observation. Let's observe the patterns consisting of 3. First, we have our main characters. Our main characters, they are George, Harold, and Mr. Krupp. We have 3 characters here, and we see them together throughout the book at all times. We have our first pattern there. Our next pattern is seen with our villains, Dr. Diapers and his 2 robots. There we have another set of 3, another 3 pattern. So we have a set of 3 from the good side and another set of 3 from the bad side. Another observation I saw is the description of George and Harold's comic book. So they make a comic book and they share it with the reader. So there's a story within the story. And they are introducing Captain Underpants under this quote. From Dogman to Timmy the Talking Toilet and Amazing Cow Lady to the Amazing Captain Underpants. I believe here we have another pattern of 3, which is the Dogman, Timmy the Talking Toilet, Amazing Cow Lady to Amazing Captain Underpants. So those 2 together make 3. So that's another one that I saw. We have another pattern of 3 in the phrase of Captain Underpants, where he says tra-la-la-la. So that small phrase has 3 syllables. Tra-la-la, tra-la-la, tra-la-la. There you go. I said it wrong in the beginning. I'm sorry. Tra-la-la. There you go. Tra-la-la. So that's another number of 3 that we see, another pattern. Also in chapter 3, in reading their own in reading their Captain Underpants comic to the reader, they inserted here a quote, a catchy quote, just like a history, like a very important quote. So and it goes like this: fighting for truth, justice, and all that is pre-shunk and cottony. We have here three elements in this quote: truth, justice, and pre-shunk and cottony. I'll put those two together as well. I'll put those, make that the third element. So we have another pattern of three there. And lastly, when they actually hypnotize Mr. Krupp and get him to Captain Underpants, before they make him into Captain Underpants, they make him act like a chicken, a monkey, and then to their own creation, Captain Underpants. So that's another pattern we see here. Next analysis is the persona of Captain Underpants. Mr. Krupp is a superhero who has two identities. First, Mr. Krupp is the director of school Jerome Horwitz Elementary School. He is grumpy, cranky, apparently the meanest person in the world. In his in his office desk, he has all these toys he has confiscated from other children. It's almost as he despises children. On the other hand, he is Captain Underpants, a character that is full of energy, ready to face any task or problem he encounters. This superhero is a model of Jungian archetypes. The persona. The persona is how we present ourselves to the world. The word persona is derived from a Latin word that literally means mask. It is not a literal mask, however. The persona represents all the different social masks that we wear among various groups and situations. It acts to shield the ego from negative images. According to Jung, the persona may appear in dreams and take different forms. Right here, I just see that clearly from I'm sorry. This section comes from Cherry, 2019 article. We clearly see here that Captain two personas in dreams. So here, this persona of Captain Underpants is not appearing in a dream, but it's appearing in a hypnosis. So we clearly see that Mr. Krupp has two personalities here. This persona. Next, we have another analysis is the ending of the story. Both George and Harold are extra careful with Mr. Krupp because, according to the hypnosis procedure, water should not be used on the persona being hypnotized. They did not read the instructions, and that's what causes Mr. Krupp to change to Captain Underpants when someone snaps. So they ruined the hypnosis by adding water. That's the ending. And that's the ending, and Harold and George continue their comic ways, pranks, while Mr. Krupp continues being Mr. Krupp with his grumpy attitude. The story shows the continuation of Captain Underpants because it ends by snapping their fingers, signaling the reader that it's going to be another part. Something else is going to happen. So there's another cycle, and it's going to repeat again and again. What is the lesson learned here? I personally believe there are several lessons the reader can pick up. From a child's perspective, the hero must conceal his identity to protect himself or herself. So here, Captain Underpants doesn't know he's Mr. Krupp. He is completely different. He doesn't have hair. He's just wearing cape and underwear. And he goes back to Mr. Krupp. So he conceals his identity in some way. And with the help of George and Harold, another theme that can be picked up is that the bad guys always end up losing to a superhero. Another lesson that can be picked up is a superhero needs a cape to demonstrate he's a hero. Sometimes, and another thing, maybe sometimes mischievousness leads to good things. In this case, these kids, they were just trying to save their skin, and they ended up doing a good thing, which is creating Captain Underpants. Overall, this story is successful in entertaining kids. Outside influences, I shared this with you in the beginning. The Little Rascals, The Three Stooges, Curious George, Harold and the Purple Crayon, They influence the names of the characters and places in the story. And here are my references. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope I was able to analyze this book well. Thank you, thank you.